Okay. Ha, I gotta go with BK today since Steve isn't here. This is my first solo podcast, I guess. No guest, no Steve to shoot the shit with and bounce ideas by. But at the end of the day, it was just a matter of time till our schedules would have a conflict. We're both very busy. Steve is doing his private investigation and security stuff. I'm traveling a lot. I'll be gone most of next week with a new hospital system. And we weren't able to find a day and a time to get together and record a podcast. So you're stuck with me. So if you can bear my accent, my speed of speech, and the content of what I'm going to talk about, I do appreciate it, and hopefully you find some meaning and benefit and purpose in this podcast. So I want to start by actually thanking everybody that has been reaching out. We've been posting some of the comments and the feedback that we've been getting on our social media. So if you follow our Facebook page or Instagram, you should have seen those. And really, if you see a theme that kind of, I guess, a common thread between all the comments that we get is the value and the benefit that people seem to be getting from our conversations. And I find it humbling, and I'm super grateful for it because the honest truth is, I started this podcast completely for selfish reasons. I wanted to learn, so I wanted to talk to cool people. I wanted to get their perspective, get their ideas, see if there's anything that I can benefit from and implement in my life. And I appreciate the fact that a lot of you out there are getting similar benefits and are taking the time to comment and to send us that feedback. So certainly, if you're listening to this and you got anything out of the podcast that we've been sharing, uh, let us know so we can keep doing good by you. And if there's stuff that you want to hear that we didn't discuss, let us know as well. And if there's stuff you heard that you think is complete bullshit, also let us know, and we'll probably just cuss at you and tell you don't know what you're talking about. But no, in all seriousness, we need that feedback as well so we can keep improving. At the end of the day, this podcasting is new to us, and we are trying to put a good product out, not just for us anymore. It's not that selfish anymore, but for you. With that said, again, if you read any of the comments and the thread, um, you see that what I kind of gather, and I guess you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but what I gather is that as men specifically, I'm gonna try to put us all in a bucket, and I know I'm gonna leave out some people or some elements of some people. So please do not get offended and understand I'm generalizing here. But I would say the majority of our listeners are men. They're probably in the mid 40s, early 50s. Entrepreneurs or business owners. Some of us own business for a little longer. Some of us a little less time and are new to this. Um, Even those of us that work for a company are typically in a leadership position within that company. All of us, to some extent or another, have gone through some relationship challenges, marriages and divorces, dating. Some have lost a loved one. So that seems to be a commonality amongst us all. And I think the drive to get better is probably the biggest thing. The idea that just because I'm in my mid 40s, I've been divorced a few times. I have kids. I have a life. I have a business. I have employees I have to take care of. Doesn't mean that life stops. And if anything, that's just an opportunity to keep improving and keep getting better. And I do believe we all share that. But one huge thing that came out is the need for a tribe, the need for fellow men, and again, not trying to exclude women. So if you're listening to this, then we appreciate you being part of our tribe as well. But certainly associating yourself with others that are facing similar challenges, learning from each other, growing together, and overall trying to leave this world a better place than how we found it. Right. So I feel a lot of us, myself included, for the longest time felt like we were going through this battle alone. We felt like we are putting our best effort and there's nobody that can help us, and I'm just going to grind on, put my blinds on, I don't need help from anybody else. I can do this on my own. And that was it, right? And really, as we start opening up and as we start talking to other people, we see that that is not necessarily true. There's a lot of value in what others are saying, what others are doing, what we can learn from them, how we can collaborate with them, how we can grow together as a community rather than as individuals. There's a lot more potential in a team than there is as a sole person. And I think the analogy that resonated with me the most, being a warrior, is that no war was ever won by one person, right? The Spartans were a team. Every great military is a team. Even the smaller unit within a military, when you talk about special operations, right? It's still a team. Not one person can do it all. And if you're listening to this, then it is because I would assume it is because you also feel the need to associate yourself with other like minded individuals. This need for a tribe is probably one of the biggest thing that we can give you a solution for as being part of our community, the Silver Savage community. And it's probably the biggest thing we're getting back from you. The feedback and the comments that you are sending to us are the biggest um, accolade and the biggest benefit that we're getting, because as we're sitting with our guests and we're learning from them, that makes us better. As we get feedback from you, that makes us better. So the tribe definitely wins over the individual. With that said, a process I've been going through, and I think something that a lesson, I guess, that I would like to share with you is how you need to be intentional about this tribe, about this team that you surround yourself with. Because just saying that I need more people around me and I can't do it by myself is all good and dandy until you surround yourself with the wrong people. The naysayers, the people that suck the life out of you, suck the energy out of you, the people that are not supportive, the people that just take from you and don't give back, right? We all know that kind. And we all had them as friends at some point, maybe even as colleagues or business partners. And we need to learn that that is probably not the tribe that we need to be with. So one thing that I've been doing over the past certainly couple of years, and if you know me on a more personal level, you've seen this transformation. It is 100% a conscious decision and a conscious movement, and I guess a deliberate process I'm going through. Is I am trying to surround myself with better people. I am actively reaching out to people that I think can be mentors, people that I believe I can learn from. A lot of them you seen or heard as guests in this podcast. So I seek those people out intentionally. I want to surround myself with those people. I think the saying of iron sharpens iron is certainly true when it comes to that. But you need to find the right iron to sharpen yourself against, right? You don't want to get any duller. You want to get sharper. And on that end, I am trying to disassociate myself from people that I found over the years where bad energy, right? And it may be the person that is, as I said, keeps asking and taking and not giving in return. God knows I had my experience with a few of those. That recently I found out, well, every time they asked me to jump, I jumped, and maybe I didn't ask how high, but I was certainly there for them. And more than once with a lot of them. And then with all of the challenges that I faced over the past couple of years, right, between moving and COVID and business and relationships and kids, whatever. Whenever I reached out to some of those people for their advice or help, nothing. Got quiet. Nobody was there, and I learned pretty quickly who my friends are, who aren't, who are the people I can count on, and who are not. And I believe a lot of you have gone through similar processes over the past few years because we all went through stresses between COVID, economy, security issues. There's all this stuff going on, and again, I think a lot of our listeners are in the same boat in terms of you are all professionals, entrepreneurs, you've all felt the wrath and agony that the last few years brought. And I'm sure you came across the same people that as much as you wanted to help them in the past when you needed them, they were not there. So cut them off. They're not good for you. You do not need them. Um, why keep them around? Why do we feel sometimes obligated to help others when those people do not feel the need to help us? Yeah, we're trying to associate ourselves with being the good human person that we are, but there's got to be a limit. You have only so much to give, and you want to give it to the right people. You do not want to give it to the wrong people. When I say wrong people, it also can be energy wise. I have disassociated myself and cut ties and relationships with people that I don't care how successful they appear to be on the outside. If their energy level was bringing me down, if they were depressing, if they kept telling me that I will not be successful, if they kept telling me that whatever I'm doing is wrong, I don't need that. I don't need that negative reinforcement. God knows I put enough pressure on myself. So those relationships are also some that I've chose to cut off and not worry about anymore. So somewhere the tribe is a major thing. I think we all can agree to that, and I would urge you um, to build the right tribe, and I'm glad we can be a part of it. I want to share with you a few other steps that I'm taking that I hope everybody can benefit from in our quest to be better. Which is that is what Silver Savage is all about. So I'd say that one of the main objectives I have right now, and one of the things that take a lot of time out of my I'm actually exaggerating. It doesn't take a lot of time. That's a nice thing about it. It actually takes a little bit of time, but has a big return on investment, and that is goal setting. I feel for a long time I was just cruising. Business was business, and as long as I was doing I don't want to say the bare minimum, but I was doing enough to keep that growth going. That was it. And honestly, I am in a point in my life where I want more. I want a lot more. I want a lot more personally for my business, financially, in my relationship. Um, I want to travel. There's a lot of goals that am setting for myself, and it can be a guided process, goal setting. I've actually benefited from having Michael guide us. So for those of you that don't know, Michael is our COO at Masada, and he's been with us for a few months now. Michael is a longtime friend, though, and Michael and I actually connected talking about tribe um, in discussing how to get us men closer together. And I am going to link our podcast talking about that adventure to this video. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can link into that and find that as well. A project we're still actively working on. But regardless, Michael, I've been through some of his own training about how to coach and guide others, and he's been super helpful in taking our whole team through a goal setting exercise, which we're still going through. It's an ongoing process, and a process that I'm sure will have to be refined many, many times. But you do not even have to go to a professional in the sense of having someone guide you through a goal setting exercise. Take a piece of paper, take a pen right now, and write down three goals. Three goals. One of them should be personal. I like to start personal because I don't want my life being dictated by a dollar amount. So, personal goal for you, where you want to be. Um, I want you to set up one goal that is financial. Okay, a set amount. How much money do you want in your bank account, and put a date next to it, right? And I want you to set one for a relationship. So whether you are in a relationship where you want the relationship to be, let's say 3 years from now, 5 years from now, or in the far future, right? Um, or if you're not in a relationship, what kind of a relationship you do want to find, if at all, right? Maybe your goal is not to be in a relationship, but if it is, then certainly write it down. At least now you have a target that you want to hit, right? What is the saying that if you have no destination, any road would lead you there, right? But we want to have a destination because the destination allows us to make our own path, find a way towards that destination. And listen, you get lost along the way, you'll take the wrong turn, you'll have to backtrack at times. But as long as you have a destination and a goal in mind, you can always find your way back onto that track and keep working towards it. It gives meaning to what you do. Not only does it um, show you how to do it. It gives purpose to everything you do, and I think that is super important. So goal setting is a huge thing for me. I spend some time every day kind of reviewing those goals, seeing if what I have on my to-do list is in line with those goals, prioritizing my to-do list according to those goals. So it is certainly something that you should do if you haven't done yet. Moving on to another lesson that I want to share with everybody is the lesson of leadership. So I've been fortunate enough to be forced into leadership positions over my life, and I made a shitload of mistakes. And what I found out is as long as I learned from those mistakes and as long as I kept being placed in that position, it forced me to own some leadership skills. And some of my subordinates may tell you that I still suck at it, and it's only always going to be a process. But I do believe that I came up with some tools, skills, and ways of accomplishing, motivating, and driving people um, through those experiences. And when I talk about leadership, you do not have to be the CEO of a huge company or a team leader in the military. Some of you are leading companies. Your company may be a company of one, but you're leading companies. Some of you are in management position within a company, just leading teams, and that is just as important if you want to add value to yourself and to what you bring to the organization. Some of you are leading within your family. That is the unit that you're leading, right? And that is no less important. And listen, at the end of the day, if nothing else, leading yourself is just as important. How often do you find yourself kind of being sidetracked and out of focus and out of alignment, and being able to rein yourself back in using the same leadership skills that you would use on a team, using on yourself, is impactful and is super helpful. So if you are not comfortable in being in a leadership position, if you do not feel you know how to lead, first of all, understand that um, it's a learned skill that you can certainly keep owning. There's a lot of good books out there, and maybe in a future podcast, we'll review some of them. But you can certainly just do a quick search on either Amazon or Audible or wherever you find your books, and you'll see plethora of books being suggested. So go ahead and start reading, start learning. Most importantly, start applying the lessons. So every time I read something, I make a point every day to read some. And when I say read, it could be listening to a book. I spend a significant amount of time in my car, and I decided to make that time productive. So I started downloading a lot more books, and I go through a book probably at least one a week, if not two. Um, but every time I listen to something or read something, I take notes and I apply at least one lesson every day. And some of them work, some of them do not. But I test it, I keep improving on it, and it makes me, I believe, a better person, a better leader, a better producer in my work. And it's something that you guys should try. So, leadership is a huge skill set that you should develop if you don't feel you have it. And if you do have it, keep perfecting it. And I said I felt fortunate enough in recent months to be asked about leadership training. We had the opportunity to present a leadership course to a federal agency. Um, Not going to disclose which one. And they were very receptive to what we did. I've since the opportunity to talk to a few other people that ask for guidance and advice. So I certainly feel that leadership is something that um, I'm getting better at, and I'm very happy to be able to share those lessons and skills and coach others now. So leadership is certainly something you want to keep investing time in. Another thing that is super important to me, and again, I'm making this general assumption that if you're listening to this, you're in a similar boat, is intentional family time. And what I mean by that is I have four kids. That's no secret. They range in ages from a toddler to a teenager. And it's very easy for me being an entrepreneur and spending a lot of time at work and a lot of time traveling is to make my family time secondary in the sense that, like, you know what, when I'm at home, I'll sit in front of the TV with them, watch a show, or maybe just spend some time during dinner. And that is family time and FaceTime, right? But that is not really family time, is it? That is not quality time. That is not them feeling that I'm invested in them. Um, and I wanted to change that. That was a big priority for me. That is one of my goals, and something that I'm still working to make even better. So intentional family time. I have dedicated dates with my kids. I have four of them, as I said, but one of them gets once a week. One of them gets me for a date just with them, and it can be playing a sport, going sitting at a coffee house, just going for a walk. But it's one-on-one time that I get to sit, talk, chat, learn more about them. It's amazing how fast they grow and how much they want to share and how many things they're going through, which I would have never guessed or known if I did not take the time and effort to listen. So spend that time. As important, if not more important, your kids should not, in my mind, take priority over your spouse or significant other. They need just as much time, if not more. Certainly, your attention, your love. They deserve it, and you should give it to them. And that should also be intentional. Going to sleep in the same bed every night does not constitute quality time. It can be part of it, but it can't be all of it. Sitting, chatting, listening, go on dates, right? Spend just time with physical touch, um, even texting throughout the day, phone calls. Spend the time. Again, make it intentional. Let them know that you're vested in them as much as you're in the kids and the rest of the family. So, intentional family time. Uh, I want to say that you need to spend a lot of time in just growth. And growth can be a bunch of different things. So I'm going to touch on a few of them. Because just because we're in our mid 40s doesn't mean that we stop growing, that we know everything we need to know, we're as good as we'll ever be. I don't buy that. I don't believe it. I learn more every day. I make it a point to learn. So personal growth is huge. I think I'm better as a person. I know more. I educate myself more. As I said, I'm trying to be a better family man, a better businessman, a better leader. So personal growth is huge. Physical growth. I am as strong now and arguably stronger than I've ever been. I'm in my mid 40s. I'm actually the heaviest I've ever been over the past few months. I gained 20 pounds, but none of them is fat. My pants fit just the same. So I assume it's muscle. I hope it's muscle. Um, People are commenting that I look thicker and bigger and stronger, and that is great. So at 47 years old, I am stronger, healthier, better endurance, better physical and athletic abilities that I've ever had in my life, and I'm loving it. So certainly keep investing in your physical and health, right? Um, 47, as strong as I am, I also recognize that there are some health issues that wouldn't have bothered me when I was in my 20s that I need to be careful and take care of now. So certainly take the time to invest in your physical growth. Professional growth, be better at your skill set. So I am a tactician at heart. I teach self-defense, I teach firearms, I teach security. So I keep learning. I take other people's classes. I learn from my own instructors and my students every day. I read. I take professional classes in my industry. My industry, security, changes really fast. Technology is taking a huge uh, element out of it, and I arguably am not an IT individual. So being educated and knowing at least what I don't know, so I do not come across as a fool, and I can be the expert that my clients expect me to be, requires tremendous effort, dedication, and a lot of work put in to stay on top of the game. And I don't care what you do for a living. You need to keep educating and moving and learning. I used to be a personal trainer. Fitness goes in cycles, but the way we train today is different than we trained when I got into the field 30 years ago. Um, I don't care if you do law, taxes, if you're a physician, all of those fields change every day. New laws, new regulations, new practices, and you need to stay ahead of the game if you want to stay relevant in the game. Um, Spiritual, I would say that that is probably my biggest challenge these days. I am even finding it hard to articulate or define what I am on a spiritual level. I'm obviously culturally Jewish. I am not a very good observant Jew. I don't practice my religion very well. And a lot of it has to do with my aversion to organized religion. I have problems when money starts affecting decision making and practices. Again, just my opinion. Not trying to swear anybody differently. If you're a religious individual, more power to you. In a sense, I envy what you have. I just don't have that blind faith, but I am trying to be more spiritual. So I think what I'm finding right now is a combination of some practices that are religious practices, but combining that with meditation. I am going to do a lot more yoga in the upcoming year. That is a promise I made to myself. I think that is part of spirituality as well, and combines physicality as well, obviously. Um, but I certainly feel like there's got to be a spiritual growth as human beings in general, and as men in particular. We need that anchor point, that spiritual anchor point that allows us to make clear decisions, ethical decisions, and keep growing with that. Um, and all that kind of leads me to maybe the last thing that I believe as silver savages we have the opportunity to do now, which we haven't had in the past, and that is to do good. And it can be financial, just giving to charity. It can be volunteering, whatever it means to you. But I would argue that when I was younger, I did not have the time, the capital, or the bandwidth to do anything for others. Not to the extent that I'm talking when I'm saying to do good. Could you go and do a little bit of volunteer here and there, or do something? Yeah, and again, I know there are people out there. As young as early teens that are much better at doing good than I've ever been, or probably than I ever will be. But w- nowadays, I find myself in a place where I can donate more money to the charities I believe in, to the causes I believe in. I believe that I can volunteer more. I can do stuff for my community. Some of the programs that we are most um, grateful and honored to have the opportunity to be involved with is actually teaching self-defense to victims of domestic violence, um, teaching um, or actually providing scholarships for people that would not be able to afford our training, doing more pro bono work. I would not have been able to do that in the past. It would also not have been a priority for me in the past, and I find that now it is something that gives me a lot of joy, a lot of comfort, satisfaction. And at the end of the day, what good is all the money in the world and all of your successes if you don't get to share it with others? So I certainly feel that I can I can do more, and I am going to do more. And it's something that I encourage all of you who are listening to this to look into it. Stay within your lane if you don't feel comfortable getting too far out of it. Uh, but what is it that you do now that somebody else can benefit from without you necessarily getting direct return? And I say direct return because I do feel there's my spiritual part coming in that you're going to get a return from it. Maybe not now, but at some point, whether you're a believer in um, uh, the law of attraction in a sense, and you believe that whatever you put out there is going to come back to you at some point, or you believe in a greater benefit and reward in the afterlife, whatever that means to you and your religious practices, right? But I do believe there is certainly a reward, whichever way you define that, even if that reward is no more than just you feel good about doing something good for others. And there is no substitute, there's no price you can put on it. There's nothing else like it. So being able, for me, walking away from teaching a self-defense class to victims who walk into the training room all timid and afraid because the last time a man touched them, they were assaulted violently, and then watch them leave after 2.5, 3 hours of training, just a little bit more upright, with the shoulders pulled back a little more of a smile in their face, and knowing that these people, if nothing else, learn that there's value to them and they're not just victims. Um, there's nothing that compares to that. So again, I encourage you to find something and do more good. So with that, I hope you all enjoyed this little solo podcast. I promise I will not bore you with my voice many more times on my own. Steve is going to be here next week. We have a few new guests lined up that I think you guys will appreciate, and I'm looking forward to doing more. Stay tuned um, to some of our social events coming up. We're going to do some get-togethers. So we're going to take this virtual platform and make it a physical one in the sense that, as I said, I believe as a tribe we can learn and grow from each other. So there's going to be a speaker series, and there's going to be just retreat that we can all hang out together, put a face to a voice, or a face to a comment on social media, and we can learn from each other and grow together. So wishing everybody a great rest of your week, and stay healthy, stay safe, and until next time.